Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez. Behind the scenes is Nicole Burdick, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time. And it's a very special story time because it's another episode of Story Beats, where we take one of the official story decks as provided by Wizards of the Coast and put it through its paces on Magic Arena. Today, I've got Slumber for War, a white, black, and red deck that captures a spotlight event from the Wilds of Eldraine story. Here's the official description. Rowan has turned twisted, her brother is weak, and her parents lied all the way to their graves. She has joined her newly found aunt in pursuit of a united Eldraine, all asleep and at their command. This deck focuses on the cursed and wicked roles, using any lost life or sacrifices to make a stronger and cheaper board. The notable cards here are Rowan, Eriette, and Twisted Fealty, which shows Rowan pledging herself to her witch of an aunt. Here's the rest of the deck list. We have a handful of ways to make wicked rolls, like with Charming Scoundrel and Eriette's Whisper, but I don't see any way to make cursed rolls, even though they are called out in the official description. Despite that, Eriette remains a very good card, and hopefully her life gain can offset what we're going to lose by casting stuff like Rowan's Grim Search. Now, with Rowan in play, her Grim Search actually might ramp us in a way. I don't know. It's an interesting interaction that I am excited to try out. The other thing I like about this deck is our copies of Callous Sellsword, because it has an adventure that lets us sacrifice something to deal damage to something else, and that works really great with our Twisted Fealty and Eriette's Tempting Apple, because we can just sacrifice whatever we stole from our opponent and not have to give it back at the end of the turn. Let me just say, I like the deck overall. It is a cool part of the story to try and capture with cards, but doing 3 colors on a budget is always rough. Most of our rare wild cards on this one go into lands, and even with those, I'm not sure how well we're going to be able to pull this off. So, will Rowan and Eriette achieve their dream of prolonging the enchanted slumber, or will this deck be a wake-up call for us budget players? I don't know. Let's find out in today's Story Beats. Okay, here's our opening hand for our first Slumber of War game. We've got 2 lands and not a whole lot else to do. I don't think this is keepable, unfortunately. This is better. Okay, so we can keep that. And I'm going to ditch Eerie Interference because I don't particularly like that card anyway. Hello, opponent. Thanks for being here. We're going to start with our Restless Fortress. Turn 2 is going to be our other Restless land. And we drew Conceited Witch, which can make wicked rolls. And it's a 2/3 with Menace. Opponent on a Suspicious Stowaway. Interesting. Alright, so I think our plan here is to just play Eriette and hope that they don't untap and have a way to kill this or turn it into a frog. That wouldn't be the worst thing, I guess. So the cool thing about Eriette is that each creature that's enchanted by an aura we control can't attack us. And so all we gotta do is stick an aura on their stuff, and it's basically pacified. Now, Conceited Witch puts a wicked roll token on a creature we control, but we can use Twisted Fealty to steal somebody, then enchant it, attack with it, give it back, and it won't be able to attack us again, which is kind of neat. So our opponent got to draw, and now they got to discard. Okay. And they pitched Jin Gataxia, so this is going to be an interesting one. All right, I think I want to actually take away their ability to get in with this Stowaway. So we are going to use Twisted Fealty. We're going to put a Wicked Roll on Eriette. We're going to put a Wicked Roll on this guy. We're gonna attack with that guy. He can't be blocked. We get to draw and discard. I don't think we need 2 of these witches. Although, maybe we did. Maybe we were supposed to do another fealty witch combo. I just want to make him discard 2 cards. I'd rather keep that, I think. And so now this has an enchantment on it and it can't attack us. And we control 2 auras, so Eriette's going to drain for 2 at the end of each turn. If they are mono blue, the worst they could do is, like, bounce her? Seed Shark, okay. Alright, we pick up Stone Splitter Bolt. So I think we're just going to use Eriette's Whisper, although we get to put a Wicked Roll on somebody and we don't have a target for that, so maybe that's not the best use of our mana, I guess. Playing the Witch here is better. And now it's just a matter of draining them out with Eriette and stacking up those auras. Alright, so they play Jin-Gitaxias. Could be a problem. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, draw a card. And it's got Ward, so that's going to be a hard one to, like, steal. Glass Casket can answer their Seed Shark or their Unctus. Which do we like better? Or do we just make them discard 2 cards here? I think so, while they're tapped out. And that lets us put another aura down, which is going to further increase Eriette's ability to drain life. But what are they discarding? Island and... Ooh, they have had a Fading Hope this whole time. That's cool. They didn't use it, though. Alright, so they pick up Thirst for Discovery. They get to incubate off the shark. Blah, blah, blah. Draw some cards. Discard. Alright. Well, our discard spell not super effective when they're able to just refill their hand that quickly. But they won't be able to lose 3 life a turn for very long. And I'm pretty tempted to just use fealty to steal the shark here or something and go over the top of them even. And we're at a very healthy 26. They can attack with a 5/5 and it's, yeah, not a problem for us really. Alright, so they swing in with their Jin-Gitaxias and their Seed Shark. Not gonna block, we'll take the 7. They get to dig through their deck and discard some stuff. A little incubate theme kind of in here as well. What does Jin do? So if they pay 4, but only if they have 7 or more cards in hand, so we don't have to worry about that yet. When he flips into his saga, they get to draw a ton of cards, and then they get to bounce everything and then cast a bunch of stuff. So that could be a problem eventually. Do I want to steal this guy with Twisted Fealty or just seal it away with our casket? Unfortunately, we don't have the mana to do both. I guess we're going to try stealing him? And I guess we can... So Twisted Fealty lets us put a Wicked Roll on anything. I didn't even really think about that. So it doesn't have to be on something we control. So Eriette will still prevent that guy from ever attacking us as long as she's around. And an opponent says, good game, they scoop it up. They can't defend against that. That was insane. Wow, this deck, pretty good. Don't sleep on Slumber for War, I guess. I don't know. Let's try it again. Game 2, here we go. Okay, so we are going first. We've only got 2 lands in hand. This is a risky keep, but I really like having our 1 copy of Eriette available, so I'm gonna roll the dice on this one. And I surely will not regret it, right? Alright, well, we'll lead off with our tapped Restless Fortress. And opponent has a Cabaretti Initiate. We did not find another land, but we did get Prophetic Prism, which draws us a card. Okay, so we found our third land. We're in good shape. So that'll let us play Eriette. Unfortunately, we won't have any auras out to drain with her right away. So maybe we actually save her for later and just Glass Casket somebody. Yeah, I suppose that's the better use of our mana this turn. We'll just get this Death-Touching Venom Connoisseur out of here. And then so next turn, if we need to, we could do Rowan's Grim Search. Wedding Announcement, that could be a problem. Opponent gets their token, passes it back. Alright, we find another land. So is it worth just playing out Eriette here? They haven't really demonstrated a lot of removal. In fact, they're on, well, they're on green and white. Okay. So now we just got to find a way to stick an aura on somebody and start draining them out. Opponent has King Darien. Buffs up the board a little bit. So we have a go wide tokens kind of thing happening here. Another land. Well, I think we're gonna Grim Search. And I can even give up this Prophetic Prism to help us dig a little deeper here. Alright, so we want... choose 2 to put on top of your library. I think we want Twisted Fealty, and I think we want Whispers. And I think I want them in that order. Unfortunately, we can't cast either of them this turn. Is it worth just playing this? No. Why am I even saying that? We're going to use Twisted Fealty probably to steal King Darien and then sacrifice him with Callous Sellsword next turn. That's my plan. We just gotta live long enough to do it. Invasion of Moag. Okay. Opponent's board is getting big, but Eriette as a 2/4 can actually stop any of these. And they don't attack. Curious. Alright, so we are going to... oh, this is our only red source, though, so we can't steal somebody and sacrifice it. So that changes the plan a little. Man, that's unfortunate. Alright, do we just make him discard, then? Yeah, I guess we have to, right? No. Ah, I got a much better idea. Twisted Fealty. Okay, so we are going to steal King Darien. He has a built-in sacrifice. So they can sack him in response. They don't. Excellent. So now I can attack with Darien. I sacrifice him to give my creatures whatever, and then I can even play this Sellsword as a 3/3. Is that what I want to do? Alright, 1816. These turns have a lot of points of decision once you start factoring in adventures and sticking the rolls and all of that. Okay, opponent has Rabble Rousing. That is gonna make them a bunch of tokens. A bunch. Alright, so do we just eat a couple of these? So they get to flip their invasion. And unfortunately, our deck doesn't really have any sort of like board wipe or anything. It has Ward 2 and it's a 5/5, so if we use the Bolt, It'll deal X damage. We can double it. So if we need to pay 2 for the ward, that means we can only deal X being 2, and even if we double that, it won't be enough. Yikes. So I think instead we're just going to make them discard those 2 cards, upgrade our sellsword, pass the turn with no attacks and drain some more life out of them, and try to hold off their army of tokens. Ugh. Okay, they have a 3/4 with double strike. And they get to make a ton more tokens. Oh my god. This is not going well. All right. Yeah, I think that's 8 plus another 9. I guess we're not quite dead here, but very close. Yep. Opponent with the optimistic good game. Let's see. Anyway, we can deal 14 damage here. Probably not. This has gotten even bigger, so now we can't bolt that. Reaper doesn't really help us. This attacking doesn't really help us, but why not? Alright, well, unfortunately, Eriette did not get there this time. Well, yeah, gruff triplets. That's going to be great. So maybe we do need to go back to sleeping on Slumber for War. I don't know. We'll give it one more shot here after our opponent swings out. And, yeah. Gets to pop off. Look at all these tokens. That's crazy. Crazy. Alright, we'll see if Eriette and Rowan can get it together in Game 3. Okay, Slumber for War. We've got 2 lands and a pair of apples. This doesn't really work for me. We'll mulligan. Probably can keep this, although it is very expensive. I don't want to go down to 5 cards. We'll ditch a mountain. Opponent opens with a mountain. Well, we'll show them the swamp first, I guess. Turn 2, Curse of Shaken Faith. Don't see this one every day. An enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast each turn. I mean, we weren't really planning on double spelling anytime soon. Opponent just throws lightning strike at our face. Okay, well, we picked up a plains. We really need to find, like, Eriette. So I guess we're gonna Grim Search here. I like that this one's an instant, at least. That gives us some flexibility. And opponent has Urbrask. Very cool. Okay, so we're gonna do an unbargained Grim Search, and we don't really turn up anything super useful. Glass Casket doesn't work on Urbrask. We could steal him for a turn and then sacrifice him. Sure. Unfortunately, I think we get pinged here with the curse, but... Oh wow, it even made an extra red mana that we can't use. Very generous, Urbrask. Alright, opponent's down to 8. I mean, that's pretty good, right? We're hitting the aggressive deck harder than they're hitting us. I say as they lightning strike my face. Okay. So is it Prism here? We pick up Rowan. All right. Forgetting again that hurts us. Okay. Well, we've got a 4/2 with Menace, so they're on a 2-turn clock now. And if they want to throw removal at her, that's less burn going to our own face. So I'm actually okay with that. And if they play their own creature, we just steal it and maybe kill them with it. Alright. They use a very expensive sorcery. I guess we just play Reaper here, even though it doesn't do anything for us. I would love to also play the Sellsword, but I don't want to take 2 damage off of this curse. For starting on a mulligan, we're actually hanging in on this one pretty well. And it goes with Bolt Charge to the face, 3 more damage. And then a Grand Ball Guest. So is it worth stealing that and attacking with it? Or just glass casketing it? I think we're just gonna get it out of here. And now how worried do we have to be about them playing something with haste? I mean... we won't know until we know, right? We're at 5. Double Lightning Strike kills us. Alright, 1 card's a land. What's your last card, opponent? Furnace Rains. Gain control of a creature. Okay, they attack us. We're down to 2. And they make a treasure. Sure. We get to attack them down to 2. Play our second Reaper. And now we can use Eerie Interference as long as they don't have a burn spell, because this only stops damage from creatures. Well, the fact that they didn't just slam a... okay, Volcanic Spite. Only targets creatures, planeswalkers, or battles. It wasn't something that could go to the face. If that had been a different instant or sorcery, they could have won, but we managed to pull it off. So that's 2 wins with Slumber for War. Let's put the deck up one more time for a last look and final thoughts. All right, Slumber for War, 3-color budget deck built around using Eriette and Rowan to create chaos for our opponent by using wicked rolls on a lot of things. That's the idea. I think it pulled it off pretty well, all things considered. But there are, as always, upgrades that you could make. It depends how flavorful we want to stay. One thing I would like to see, though, is some more sacrifice outlets. Right now, between our Twisted Fealties and our Tempting Apples, we have lots of ways to steal opponents' creatures, but not a lot of ways to get rid of them before we have to give them back. I think it's really just this Sellsword. So you could add maybe another copy of him. Something like Corrupted Conviction. I mean, this is basically describing Rowan, right? Her own convictions were corrupted by Eriette, so it's a flavor fit, although this card comes from March of the Machines and it's got, other characters on it. But the idea behind it still works. And, sacrificing our opponent's creature to draw 2 more cards is great. I would try to find room for maybe just one of these, maybe even go down an apple and go up a conviction or a Sellsword. Other things that we can do with this deck: find more ways to lose life ourselves. Rowan gets better whenever we lose life on her own turn. She only works as a sorcery, but the idea is we lose life, we tap her, make our other stuff cheaper. So if we change out, say, Glass Casket for something like Infernal Grasp, I mean, there's not really anybody grasping anybody quite like this on Eldraine. But again, I mean, it's kind of a nightmare thing, could be part of Eriette or Ashiok's kind of machinations, call it what you will. So we're okay. We lose life, then we tap Rowan, we get to play something for 2 less. This kind of works with that theme. Other ways that we could lose life every turn and benefit from it would be something like Phyrexian Arena, which is huge flavor break. I mean, this doesn't happen at all on Eldraine, but we get an extra card and lose a life, and then Rowan makes it that much cheaper. but a better fit would be the Eldraine arena, I guess. And that is Lord Skitter's Blessing. When it enters a battlefield, we get to create a Wicked roll, which this deck wants as many rolls as it can get. And then at the beginning of our draw step, if we control an enchanted creature, which we almost always will with this deck, we then get to draw a card and lose a life. So it's a little bit tighter version of Phyrexian Arena, but still works with what we're doing here. Also wouldn't, hurt to add some more copies of Eriette and or Rowan, probably go up to like 3 of each, since they are kind of the main build-arounds for the deck. But I think the real lesson here is that Eriette should have just teamed up with the rats, right? I mean, like, Lord Skitter's Blessing makes a Wicked roll and just kind of pops off. Maybe that would be better. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Is this deck good? It's 3 colors. It's on a budget. It's a little shaky, but we managed to get there more often than not. I like it. I probably would not bring this one to like F&M to really compete, not without having a better mana base and without tweaking the distribution of some of our steel and sacrifice stuff. But I think there's a good starting foundation here, and I would love to hear what you think. So let me know down in the comments. Then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the great stories you'll only find here on Magic Arcanum. Like next time when we do the companion to this deck, which has Will and Eldraine in it, and I think it's called Wake for Peace. So it's like looking in a mirror. We got Slumber for War, and coming up later in the series, we'll have Wake for Peace. Which one ends up being better? I don't know. You'll have to stick around to find out. Anyway, until then, we'll see ya.